Welcome. You have entered review time with Imperial. We're going to start a series review starting with Season 5 of Power, broadcasting on Stars. If you're a fan of Power, since Season 1, it's now in Season 5. It's been a roller coaster ride. Jamie St. Patrick, which is the lead character on the series, whose name is Ghost. Tommy Eden is his counterpart. 50 Cent, his character is Kanan on the show. Ghost's wife, Tasha, her friend, Lala Anthony's character is Keisha. And then Ghost's love interest, Valdez. So in Season 5, Episode 1, this is the recap. So pretty much off of Season 4, pretty much ended with Ghost and Tasha's daughter getting killed by a dirty cop who was after Tariq because Tariq was doing crimes with him and knew he was dirty and knew information, so he pretty much wanted to get him out of there so there won't be no witnesses. The sister knew that the cop was dirty and pretty much protecting her brother, she stood up to the cop. And when she told the cop that she knew who he was and what he was into, he pretty much knew that he had to get rid of her too in his mind. So he killed her. So no one suspected that last season. No one seen that coming. Last season was pretty much Tariq, which is the son of Ghost and Tasha. All the rebellion of a young teenager, the hard-headedness, the sneakiness, lying to his parents, figuring he's grown, doing what he wanted to do. All this stuff he was doing, pretty much the fan base was like, he need to get out of here, not the daughter Raina. So, when Raina got killed, Tariq felt miserable, so he reached out to Dre, which is, he's dirty as well, so he reached out to him, pretty much blackmailed him, told him, he pulled a gun out on him, told him he would tell his dad that he knew that Kanan was still alive and everything. And so Dre gave him information on where the cop would be. Meanwhile, Angela Valdez, Ghost's love interest, pretty much Tasha went to her, found out, used her system to ping Tariq's phone, and she pinged the phone. By the time they all got there, they all showed up at the same time. Tommy, Ghost, and Tasha arrived there at the same time, and upon them getting there, Tariq pretty much shot the dirty cop who killed his sister. And meanwhile, upon him shooting, he stole Tasha's gun to do the killing. So once again, his naiveness, his doing what he want to do, not thinking about nothing, just and going off of impulse. He was erratic in his behavior. So that leads us to now. Now, season 5 starts off pretty much the aftermath, picking up right after that situation. Them getting ready for the funeral. Them telling Tariq, he said he's not remorseful for what he did. They don't want him to be. But it doesn't negate all the stuff he was into and doing. So they're getting ready for the funeral. Angela shows up to the crime scene for God knows what, why, and what reason. She showed up to the crime scene. So the sergeant who's who's covering the case or whatever, he's want to question her, and then he want to use her as a report. Like, okay, she was there. She pretty much saying, okay, detective such and such is there, so you don't need me. But they like, well, why are you here? Meanwhile, the internal affairs of NYPD person shows up, and she's looking suspicious. Well, why Angela is there? So, okay. Then from there, you got Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy. They got this, thing going on. So they don't know if they can really trust Kanan. He's dirty. He don't let stuff go. And he pretty much like, I could have killed y'all anytime I could, but I didn't. So how y'all not going to trust me? Pretty much. Meanwhile, Dre is getting more established because he set Kanan up to get killed in season 4, but that didn't work out well. And Kanan pretty much defended himself and he killed the dudes that was Dre sent to kill him or whatever. So, Tommy, once he found out who his dad was, he wants to now use his dad's people as his new connect to distribute product or whatever. Plus, he want to be able to use them to help with the war with Dre or whatever. So, upon linking up with his father's people, he sees some loose cannons that's out there that his uncle or whoever the guy is that tells him, hey, don't deal with them type people. They're kind of loose. Of course, he's loose himself, so that's right up his alley. So he reaches out to them, pretty much offers them a certain much money that he don't want them to do a hit. He just want them to kidnap him. So that was their deal. And their deal was to kidnap Dre. And meanwhile, Kanan gonna have his people go after and kidnap Dre as well. Meanwhile, at the funeral, you got Lorenz Tate character who is a dirty politician. He wants to use Ghost's funeral as publicity, and Tasha's not really feeling that, but he kind of like, we gotta go with the flow because Lorenz Tate pretty much got him by the balls. And they asked Tariq this say a part in the funeral. Ghost and Tasha didn't want him to do it because he is, everything he'd been through. He pretty much say, I'm willing to do it. So at the funeral, Tommy pretty much tells Ghost, like, yo, Dre's on the move. He tells him that right next to Tariq. And Tariq's been keeping in contact with Dre. So in the process of yelling, saying his sister's speaking at her funeral, he acts like he's hurt and he can't finish, so that he was going to start crying. and he ran off from the podium. Instead of Ghost and Tasha running after him, they was about to, and Keisha pretty much said, "I'll go do it." So she ran after him. He locked himself in the bathroom. Meanwhile, he's faking. He's pretty much jumping on the phone to warn Dre, run. Like, pretty much warning him, they after you. So that triggers him, gets him to jump. Okay, they after me. He start looking who's suspicious in there, who's looking at him. And he's on the move. So he's running from Kanan people inside the venue he's at. Then from there, he makes his way through the back. He think he's cool. He sees some white guys, so he put his gun in his back. Then it's pretty much the white guys that Tommy hired. They put something over top of him. And then he pretty much grabbed his gun from underneath, shot the one dude in the stomach, shot the other guy in his head. So he gets loose. So, you know, one guy was dead instantly. The other guy, he's pretty much shot in the stomach, abdomen area. So that didn't work. And now you're looking at Tariq like, this kid, he got to get the hell out of here because he's doing entirely too much. He's entirely too much involved. Why did Ghost why Tommy was so reckless to even mention that to Ghost at a funeral at that or whatever. So the funeral's in daytime, and after the funeral, Tasha comes home pretty much, and they asked her where his Ghost was. He went to the burial. And so Tommy comes home. He sees the Menendez card with the spider on it, pretty much letting them know that was the warning. They gave him a card. They found Kanan at a club, and he had a card left on his car. Then Ghost at nighttime is still at the burial spot from daytime. And Andre shows up. And Dre, he pretty much telling them like, Ghost act like he was reaching for a gun. He was like, you ain't got no gun. You ain't bring no gun to your daughter's burial. And he pretty much just telling them on some bullshit like, I got the Menendez in my pocket, and you know, if you don't want to be burying the rest of your other family members, you better back off pretty much, because I basically got y'all lock and key. You stay in your lane, I stay in mine, and we won't have to cross paths. So he did that on some G boss type time or whatever. However, after the recap I just went over, I went through the whole spiel. That's, of course, there's some other little things in there, but that's the episode in a nutshell. The writing of Power is frustrating. And it has been frustrating for seasons now. And I don't know if it's just one writer. I know Courtney Kemp is the main writer, but I don't know if she has other writers inside that's pretty much getting their input or different ideals. But it's so many times that I'm watching these episodes that the writing could have been better. Now, of course, if you listen to Courtney Kemp's dialogue, she said she always kind of bring it like there's a means to an end. Meaning, it looks like the writing's not good, but it all comes together. And a lot of times it really doesn't come together. And a lot of times the writing could be better and just pretty much you could have did that different to make it seem realistic. Like a lot of this stuff that be happening is just like come on, you dealing with people that's supposed to be really on their game and they're way off their game, and you supposed to be dealing with a lot of money, but where's the money at? That if you had this type money, you should be doing that. See, it's better writing that you could still use all these things I just said, but things still happen because it's out of your control. The things that's happening to them is in their damn control. It's like, come on, like that was common sense. Like, okay, you should be able to do this, woo, 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 and then this happened. Well, you couldn't control that. See, that's the variables when you into crime or you into all these different type things. You gotta analyze all different type things can happen. Now, if you cover your bases and then something left field come, well, you couldn't account for that. Who knew that was gonna happen? But these things that you be seeing them get caught up on, it be the obvious. Like, come on, who does that right there? Like, nobody, people do that. But I'm just saying, like, it, But the fact that I guess they write it like that, it triggers people like myself to do these type videos to talk about it. So I guess in a nutshell, it is what it is. But still, I watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of different movies. So, I process it differently, than the average person. The average person just gonna look at the show and like, oh, it's power, woo, woo, woo. But then I break it down and be like, nah, the writing wasn't that good. Why did they do it so nevertheless, but I'm not in their shoes. And it might be, it's more easier for somebody like myself to critique from afar. If I had my own show and then we was writing and then the finished product coming out, then somebody be critiquing me. So, but with that being said, I'm still gonna talk my stuff and say what I don't like writing. It's all overall. It's season 5. Overall, the show is still a good show. You got 5 seasons going on, so no matter what I say about it or whatever, doesn't sway anything. But I still gotta give my opinion. So pretty much, this is the recap of season 5, episode 1. Stay tuned for episode 2's recap. Subscribe and like, share the video. Stay tuned to the next one.